Hello folks, and welcome to another review from the Audiophile man, and this time around we're looking at a pair of speakers from Monitor Audio, a pair of stand mounts. The new Bronze 57G speakers. Lots of new tech for this particular iteration, including a brand new mid-bass unit. The 152mm lightweight aluminium magnesium metal coned C-cam drivers, up from 127mm from the earlier 6G models, feature a larger voice coil and larger magnets to improve power handling apparently. This driver has been partnered with a similarly new crossover design. There's even a new C-cam 25mm gold dome tweeter that sits behind another new part of the UD waveguide to reportedly produce a wider soundstage. The venting for this design has been tweaked to lower distortion. The company actually wanted to make the tweeter the star of the show, the thing that draws your eye. And actually, for my eyes, it does the job. Hence the gold colour and the rather nifty etched grille design. There's a rear firing bass port based on the company's HiVe II port technology that sits at the back, just above the by-wire terminals. Now, what's not really talked about too much by Monitor Audio, at least I couldn't really see evidence on their website, is a rather nice 18mm veneer-coated plywood baffle that sits at the front of the speakers. This plywood baffle is there to increase rigidity. The baffle works with the cabinet itself, reducing vibration and high-frequency noise, resulting, says the company, in clearer sound. Well, we'll see, won't we? Whatever the sound enhancements, I think the baffle adds a sense of style to the aesthetics. All of this creates an 86 decibel sensitivity performance. This means you're looking at an amplifier to drive these speakers of around 30 watts or more. These 8 ohm speakers weigh in at 6.4 kilograms each, and they span 335mm by 185 by 328mm. And they arrive with a 5-year warranty. In design terms, most speakers, all at this price point, are built to a compromise. Thus, companies tend to focus their energies and their cash towards one or more aspects of the design or the sonic envelope. In this case, in Monitor Audio's case, if you listen to someone like the product design director in the company, that seems to mean bass and bass power. That's what he is talking about. Upping the size of the mid-bass unit, plus the enhancements behind the stiff cone itself, has seen the company wanting to almost emulate a larger 8-inch cone performance of yore, but in a smaller, compact chassis. It seems then that Monitor Audio want to have their cake and eat it in either walnut, black or white finishes too. So, sure, we're looking at a speaker that hopefully performs well right across the board and in general terms. But bass, it appears, will be the overriding focus of this review. And what of that sound quality? Well, let's have a little listen. So with that element, bass, in mind, I began by comparing the Bronze 50s with the bass-centric 3030i speakers from Q Acoustics, and I played the band Kent's Isola. Isola? Not quite sure which one it is. Anyway, Isola, I'm going to pick with, album, and the rather epic extended rock piece 747, as in the passenger aircraft. This one has vocals, electric and bass guitars, percussion and synths, and where bass becomes a factor as the track progresses. Right from the off, even before the bass really kicked in, I was surprised about the rest of the sound envelope. The very impressive clarity from the Bronze 50s actually reminded me of the Wharfedale Evo 5.1 speakers, but more so. The enhanced articulation from the vocal delivery meant that it was easier to track lyrics than the Q Acoustics 3030i designs. That sense of instrumental separation, that there is now a recognizable space between the instruments and the vocals, gave the music a real insight. There is a real crisp approach from the mid-range here, one that adds pace and adds movement, pushing the music forwards. The music never ever felt sluggish from the Bronze 57Gs. For some, this crisp mid-range may be slightly too accentuated. These speakers are not strictly balanced. There is a touch, I don't know, half a degree or so more of mid-range accentuation, which is why the more neutral speakers like, well, the Wharfedale Evo 5.1s might be a better bet for those looking for a strictly neutral design. That mid-range performance from the Bronze 50s is not a good thing or a bad thing. It's a sound bias thing, a personal preference. Even so, what the Bronze 50 mid-range voicing gives you is a clean, clear, and very exciting sound presentation. And you can easily detach yourself from the listening room and you can send yourself on a musical journey. So what about the bass? Well, for the price and the size of the cabinets, absolutely beautiful. Lower bass sounded resonant, vibrant, and rather massy. Bass is certainly more effective than the Q Acoustic 3030i designs, and I've always seen the 3030i's as bass specialists. In fact, the Bronze 57Gs challenge the new Q Acoustics 3030C speakers in bass terms, but they add a new sense of clarity within the mid-range, although the 50s did have that accentuated mid-range and treble performance. I then moved to a pair of Chinese speakers from Fosse, the SP601 models, also pretty nifty in bass terms, and I also swapped CD for vinyl and David Crosby and Graham Nash's Wind on the Water album from 1975. The Fosse speakers certainly took bass down to similar depths as the Monitor Audios, but the Bronze 50s had superior control around this frequency area. Also, while the Fosse speakers did present the mids in a more balanced manner, the detail couldn't quite reach the extended levels offered by the Bronze 50s. I then brought in my Martin Logan Motion 15i speakers, and this was interesting because of the wholly different tweeter technology. The 15i's use AMTs, and because of this, I would say the AMT-driven Martin Logans offered the best upper frequency detail and articulation within this entire test. Sure, at times when pushed hard, they did show a similar upper frequency accentuation to the Bronze 50s, but the Martin Logans just didn't have that low frequency grunt of the Monitor Audios. The low-end thump from the Bronze 50s provided a sense of grandeur. And that's basically the review of the Monitor Audio Bronze 57G stand-mounted speakers. Let me give you a few final thoughts, got some of those to share with you. I'll give you some pros and cons as well, and I'll give you a final rating. There's a real sense of fun from the Monitor Audio Bronze 57Gs. It kind of reminds me of the Ruark Sabre R speakers, except the Monitor Audio Bronze 57Gs, well, they kind of wrap you up in the music and they carry you along with it. Now, sure, some ears might not appreciate the slightly accentuated upper mids, but if you love your detail, your clean mids, a distinct sense of clarity, and above all else, a real sense of bass power with a surprising low-end grunt for these relatively small stand mounts, then you will love the Bronze 50 7G designs. And that's a lot, folks. Thanks for staying to the end of this particular video. Down below, can I ask you before you disappear to click on the like, and if you haven't done so already, the subscribe buttons, please. I will put links below for the Monitor Audio speakers themselves. I'll put my links to my Facebook group, which you're welcome to join, my website, which you're welcome to browse, and my Patreon page, which you're welcome to support. If you can support it, if you enjoy these type of videos, please consider joining my Patreon page, and Give me some help over there because it funds this channel. I will be back hopefully on Friday with something musical, and then on the Saturday with a hi-fi news video, and then on a Sunday with another review. And I hope to have your company then. Until then, folks, bye bye for now.